All right. So this is part 2 of my live stream for tonight. I already had one going earlier and my bandwidth killed my video connection. So what I'm doing now is trying this through StreamYards with an audio only connection, see if we can finish up our chat for tonight and hang out for a few minutes. So if you're watching this in the rerun, go ahead and check the link in the description down below for the original video, where I actually had a little bit of a video topic to discuss in the beginning, and we had a little bit of real chat before my buffering killed it. So for those of you who are rejoining now, I am just doing this little bit of an audio StreamYards chat to finish up our hanging out for the night, because my buffering just absolutely killed my internet connection with all the video bandwidth going through. So here we are with a little bit of a backup stream just to hang out for the night. So I apologize for the rather dull background. I'll see if I can drop something interesting in there. I'm not sure that I understand that comment, Wayne, but yeah, that's sounds good. Gonna sit and lurk in the back. Yeah, this one should go all right. I think that if I don't have all the video bandwidth going through, I should have a pretty good connection. But I'll play with it and see if StreamYards will let me do a video share, something like that, or at least a decent picture to toss in there. Yeah, Diana, I think the time change is messing with a lot of people. Even if it doesn't mess with you in the direction that you expect it to, it's still sort of, once your sleep schedule is thrown off, you're off. Yeah, heavens. I either fall asleep at around 8 o'clock or stay up until 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. Oh, geez, Diana. Yeah, that's especially if it's what time zone are you in there? It is 11 o'clock here, so I'm on the West Coast. That's even then, that's only 7 hours of sleep. But if you're 3 hours ahead of me, that's pretty ugly. Yeah, Wayne, I hear you there. I just generally have a very strange sleep schedule. I've actually been almost sleeping in triphasic patterns lately, just falling asleep at around, like I said, 8 o'clock, sleep until midnight, being awake for a few hours, falling back asleep, waking up and having a work shift, and so on and so forth. So it's a little strange, but it gets me by, so I'm not complaining. I definitely get enough sleep, which is more luck than a lot of people have. Anybody doing anything interesting while they watch the live stream? You guys seen anything interesting on the internet, or crocheting anything interesting while you watch videos? I am currently trying to find a better background for the live stream to have, because the thumbnail is just black, and now it's better. one of my next projects to get started on. Oh, the old one is? All right, thank you, Hooples. I'll go kill that. One of my next projects is to brew cider, because I drink hard cider, as you guys have noticed tonight. And aside from that, it is a good skill to have to be able to produce alcohol. So, let's see. Is there anybody in there? I don't think anyone's in there, so I'm just going to kill that live stream. I'm not really sure how to once it says it's stopped. I think YouTube owns it now. It's acting like it's an old video, so I'm not sure I can end the liveness of it. Let's see. What are my thoughts on guns, and not the kinds of guns that get the ladies? Let's see. Well, real quick, I'm going to catch up and we'll talk about guns. Hoople says the greenback dropped 1% to a different number of yen, fell as much as a certain amount to the euro, while stocks plunged. Yes, the economy is not doing good. And that's something that actually I have not seen a lot of people talking about in the background of everything that's going on, which surprises me, because usually the economy would be everybody's favorite topic. And I know that we have big things going on, but actually I would like to see more people talking about what's actually going on, because we are overdue for another recession / crash / depression or whatever. It's always been one of my most likely things, right alongside a pandemic. And of course, they'll happen right alongside each other. Whether or not the pandemic's the big thing that's actually causing it, or going to be a huge pandemic, you can bet that people who don't want to be blamed for economic worries love a good boogeyman. As people have said, never let a good crisis go to waste. Anyways, about guns. I like guns. I have always, well, since I was old enough to shoot guns, I've shot guns. I've owned guns since I was a very young man. And I've made a living off of manufacturing guns. So, yeah, guns are a part of my life. I'm not a gun channel, because while I could make myself a gun channel, there are other people who have the time, money, and resources to do that much better than I could for a very long time. So I talk about things that I can discuss from my perspective, but whenever that crosses with guns, I do share my perspective on it. Never owned a gun back to roots? Well, I will give you what is almost universally agreed upon as the best starting place for owning a gun or trying out guns, and that would be, for a handgun, a revolver, and for a long rifle, that would be a shotgun. A long gun, I guess you would say. But both of those are among the simplest and most reliable, durable firearms that you can own or even just handle for the first time. And there's a reason that they are such a staple, why they're still around alongside all the modern stuff, and why they were so useful for people back in days whenever you were really relying upon the stuff that you carried. Will Biden ban potato guns? CNN says he will be president. CNN certainly does seem to think that Biden will be president. I really did see a lot of media thumbnails talking about how Biden has just completely pulled ahead above Bernie. And I don't see that. I definitely think that Bernie is the people's favorite among those who will vote that way. But he's not the establishment favorite. I agree there. And Wayne touched on what I was going to get back around to. I'm sure that he would love to ban potato guns. A lot of people would love to. And like he said, I'm sure potato guns are already banned under something, That's why I have been careful about my use of my potato cannon, because I'm sure that it falls under a primitive device or an improvised projectile or something like that. I am certain that anybody that I encounter around here will just be amused. Everybody who's heard that I'm doing a potato cannon just thinks that it's awesome. And yeah, and that's the other concern, Hooples, is that some old lady is going to see me. That's why I shave the beard. That's the real reason I shave the beard, is that no one thinks I'm a terrorist, because terrorists have beards. We all know that. And it looks like a very big pipe that is made with, wires on it. So while anyone who knows what they're looking at sees a potato cannon and, a man-child just having some fun, I don't want to give any wrong impressions about it. So, yeah. More effective than Iranian missiles. They tried and missed us in the Strait. Well, I will say that a potato cannon would probably make a decent insurgent weapon. Definitely wouldn't suggest it to any mujahideen out there, but I wouldn't want to get hit with one of those potatoes. I've seen them go through wood. I would absolutely expect a potato to go through, for instance, cheap interior door. Kim Unwrong will kidnap me and make me in charge of their missile program. Well, I'm sure that if I was on the inside circle in North Korea, I would be living better than I do now. But I'm also sure that that would not be a position I would want to put myself in. So that's okay. If Mr. Kim is listening now, I will politely decline. Unless he's as cool as he is in the interview. That was a good movie. He seemed pretty cool in that. No, Wayne, you would not want to get hit with one of these potatoes. I'd have better internet, that's for sure. Yeah, no, whenever one of these potatoes is moving at full velocity, they will definitely cause massive organ damage if you get hit in the gut with one of those. That's why I would never suggest such a thing. But one of the best potato shots I've ever seen went through a 1/4 inch of plywood and a 1/2 inch of styrofoam insulation board, and then turned itself into mashed potatoes on a boulder. There was nothing left. There was just mashed potatoes. So anything that can go through a 1/4 inch of plywood will hurt you pretty dang bad. And that's a potato. Remember when he threatened war if they released the movie? Yeah, that was a good movie, though. It was funny. Spoofy, but funny. You can't have guns in your home. You prank each other way too much. That sounds just dangerous. Could just put overalls and a straw hat. I missed that, heavens. They would think Amish. Oh, yeah, Amish person. I don't know if Amish people use potato cannons. Oh, yes, Hooples. It was definitely self-deprecating. I'm sure a lot of people missed that. But most liberal art is self-deprecating towards Americans. Yeah, I should have kept the beard, Heaven's Essentials. Just get a straw hat and a beard, and people would just see around here we don't have Amish, we have Mennonites, and that would actually make sense. Mennonites do have a bit more modern tendencies than Amish do. Yeah, Hooples. That's true. I have a hard time watching that one. It definitely was a little silly, but Wally is also very accurate nowadays. We're heading right there. A black hat. Yep. Plaid clothes, jeans, expensive boots, nice truck. You bet, Seven Wonders. I'm just doing a audio only StreamYards chat. That way they can keep it open for me and I don't need to worry about my connection too much. Yeah, Wayne, I heard that a little bit of that happened. It's got vitamins. Back when vitamin water was a stupid thing. Vitamin water's still around, I think, isn't it? They don't claim that it's a supplement anymore. They didn't they actually get sued into acknowledging that it's just a flavored beverage like everything else? Oopsie. No, I am not Amish Seven Wonders. Don't even play one on TV. But I do live near some Mennonites. And I once dated an ex-Mennonite. I type just like your gamer son here throughout the whole house. Well, I was once a gamer. That's where my typing skills do come from. I actually had, I don't want to say the highest type words per minute in my class throughout school, but I was always in the top few because when I was very young, I played internet gaming on a PC. And if you're going to own people and talk bad about their mother at the same time, you need to have very fast typing skills. And so that's what I developed. I'm a leprechaun. Yep, that's what I am. I'm not Irish. I'm a leprechaun. How did I become a prepper? That's always a good question. Oh, okay, Seven Wonders. Yeah, no, I grew up Mormon, which actually segues right into Heaven's Essentials question. How did I become a prepper? Yeah, it's a gamer thing. I grew up Mormon, and as we all know, Mormons store food. But actually, and this is something that I've meant to make a video on for quite a while, Mormons have more preparedness without even realizing it than probably almost the entire YouTube prepping community. Because while the YouTube prepping community preps, Mormons just prep without even knowing it. It's just sort of part of their prerogative. It's what a lot of them have been raised to do, because for one thing, they go to food banks. They run a massive food bank system that packages food kitchen type products, and they can purchase it directly there themselves and actually put their time in to subsidize the labor cost. So that's just part of the activities that they go to on every few months or whatever. So it's literally just something that they don't even question, let alone the ones who are actual serious preppers. And I can tell you that Mormon armories and Mormon stockpiles are among the most serious and well planned in the prepping community. So, is it true about the underwear, and do you still wear it? I never, I never got to that point. I separated from the church, went inactive before I went on my mission or went through any temple processes. The special underwear, if you will, are the simplest explanation is that it is a modesty aid, keeps you from showing any more than what you're wearing in a standard size underwear. And it's sort of like a wedding ring, reminding you of oaths, things like that. But like I said, I never went through the learning process of all that stuff. I never took the oaths and things like that. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not I went to the temple when I was young to perform rituals, not rituals, but prayer ceremonies for the dead. But that's as far as any young person goes before they get older and a lot more serious into it. But Wayne, there should be canneries regionally in states. You need the opposite types. Anyways, continuing on from the underwear question, it is a thing. It's just sort of a nuance of the religion like anything else. And it mostly only matters because of what it means to the people. So, anyways, Mormons have a lot of preparedness. And I wouldn't say that that's why I'm a prepper. It's just a part of why it's a background, why it's always been a consideration. Another part of that is I've always grown up with the belief that I was in the end times, if you will. I was never we were never eschatological necessarily, but I think any Christian nowadays is brought up believing that they're in the time of the second coming, if you will. And I sort of took that to heart. Whenever 9/11 happened, I was certain that that would lead to a nuclear war because I believed that nuclear war was the fire and brimstone that preceded the second coming. So that was just sort of part of my worldview. I've grown up believing that I'll see apocalypse. And not just as like sort of a weird thing that I believed in the background, but I really always believed that I would see millions of people die and potentially be one of the people who survives and has to struggle through that. That was just sort of a part of my worldview growing up that I digested, if you will. I was always an avid Boy Scouter, so we always went on. I was always lucky to have very serious Boy Scout leaders. My dad was one of my Boy Scout leaders when I was very young. He was actually the Boy Scout leader for the 18-year-olds when I was 8 years old, 10 years old. So I was able to go out on their much more experienced hikes and long campouts because my dad was the leader. And between him and all the older boys, they always helped me out. So I was able to do their long hikes with them. So I just sort of got into the survivalism a lot earlier. Read Hatchet, sort of a stereotypical survivalist thing there, but I read the Hatchet and all those books, the whole series, and really took that to heart. I always read survival books when I was young and very seriously practiced for being able to survive in the wilderness on, EDC type items from very young age. So that was always just sort of a part of my outlook. But one of the main things that got me into prepping was whenever I, got out of high school, started getting into learning things for myself and doing internet research and stuff. I had friends who were into conspiracy theories and alternate political views and stuff. So I really got into the conspiracy theory circuit. I worked in a machine shop making firearms for a long time. So I was listening to podcasts, things like Alex Jones, Coast to Coast, things like that were just talking about alternate theories about public events and stuff like that. And, you can't get into a lot of that kind of stuff without just realizing that you sort of need to look out for yourself no matter what all this kind of stuff is. In fact, I definitely burnt out after a while of chasing all the conspiracy theories and all the potential threats that we might need to face. And spent a few years not really concerned with prepping or anything like that, because it is overwhelming if you really dive too deep into the seriousness of all of it and try to chase every potential threat, every potential rabbit hole. So you really come down to a point where what can you do about all of it? Well, nothing until you're really prepared to take care of yourself. You can't be part of a revolution or a civil war or anything if you don't have enough to feed yourself for the next year. You can't survive an apocalypse if you don't have enough to feed yourself for the next year or take care of your family. So between growing up as a Mormon, between caring a lot about survivalism in the wild and just in general, and realizing that no matter what conspiracy theories are true, there's nothing that you can do about any of it unless you can take care of yourself, no matter, what simple thing happens to you, whether that's a job loss or a hurricane or martial law. So, that was a lot of it for me. It's evolved into off-grading and homesteading being the ultimate goal, because I think that's the ultimate goal of prepping and sustainability in general, is to just maximize your independence and self-reliance. So that's my prepping story in a nutshell for you. Anyways, I'm going to catch up on the chat for just a second. Who pulls prepper? Yeah, yep, that is a good reason, who pulls, to get started. And I've had a lot of friends who had very rough childhoods that very much changed them. So I definitely understand that. Back to roots. Always wanted to bury some shipping containers in your yard. Not sure if it's for prepping or for fun, like a tree house. I can definitely understand that feeling there, back to roots, because my ultimate prepping home is a massive underground kingdom like the dwarves have in The Hobbit, or like Moria in The Lord of the Rings, or things like that. Not necessarily as ornate or massive as they have, but I want to have a home that is blasted out of the rock, or like a massive World War II bunker or something. But I'm not really sure if that's because it's a practical prepper goal, or if it's just because I really want it. Yeah. But I definitely understand having prepper goals that might also just be things that you want. That's good, Hooples. Why are some Americans so freaked out about martial law? Do we not love the military? Why do we love our military so much, and yet we don't want to sleep in its warm embrace? That's true, Hooples. For one thing, the Canadian Army is just really seems to be all around good guys. By all historical accounts, and the fact that they don't really hang around when there's nothing to do, they seem like cool guys. You have our army. So yeah, for one thing, our idea of martial law is informed by conspiracy theory, which is in part informed by what usually happens when people with military training give orders in a civil manner, No, it is sort of true, Hooples. I know that Canada pays for their own army and stuff, but America does take care of a lot of stuff that makes Canada very safe. coincidentally. And Canada definitely contributes. I'm not going to say that we're just like the benevolent protector of Canada. And I don't think that that necessarily means that Canada's ours or that we could, just invade or something like that. But if America is safe, in most cases, Canada is safe. So I understand that perspective. But I have gotten into it with Canadians in the past, and they had their facts. Canada does pay their fair share for a lot of defense stuff. And it's not like we just a la carte it for them. But anyways, yes, that is. I have respect for Canada's fighting forces, and not part of it is because of World War I, but they've always pulled their weight whenever it was their turn to pull their weight. But if you really want to be impressed by fighting spirit, Canada protects you from Russia. But yeah, go back and look at Canadian action in World War I, because a lot of that was pretty impressive. Whenever mustard gas was first employed, Canadian units were the ones that filled the gaps of all the other troops that fell back because they were getting hit by the gas for the first time. So yeah, they're pretty cool. Canada is huge. I don't know if you guys have ever really looked at Canada, like on a map that doesn't separate it and zoom it out, but Canada and Alaska are absolutely gigantic. Just a friendly reminder to everybody. And I've always joked about how they've got all that space, but they always huddle right up against America, you know? But it's huge. I would just love to go out there and just buy a mountain. I imagine they're just giving whole mountain ranges away up there, aren't they, in the Yukon? Like, if they can make a go at it, they'll give you a mountain range. Okay. I never actually really answered your question there, Hooples. We just got into a couple of rabbit holes. But why all the martial law vids? Because, for one thing, it's, like I said, I'm not going to go and say it's the demon government, because I believe that government exists for a reason. I believe that it usually does not exist in the form that it needs to exist in, but I'm not going to say that we need no government. But almost universally, the people who are calling shots are not always qualified to be calling the shots. And so we end up with situations like Ruby Ridge, which happened very near where I'm at, Waco, Jonestown, stuff like that, where people end up on the other side of their government, where whether or not they deserve it, sometimes they did, sometimes they definitely didn't. But people don't want to end up on the other side of their government, especially when they don't deserve it. And so whenever a chain of events looks like it could point towards that, and whenever people build when you build a construct and you point towards things like Katrina, where gun confiscations were performed by location rather than profile, if you will, stuff like that, people don't want to end up on the wrong side of that, and they realize that all it takes for that to happen is a decision by a magistrate or a judge or a governor or something like that. Whereas technically, under the rule of the original law, that wasn't necessarily supposed to be the case. That is something that is a glaring difference for a lot of people, and they don't want to imagine the day that they are under circumstances where they're being controlled by somebody who doesn't have the proper authority necessarily. And I won't say that there should just never be martial law, that no one, that there should never be rationing or things that are done for the sake of the general good. But Americans pride ourselves on an almost extreme degree of individual determination. And that is sort of an identifying trait, if you will. Gonna buy Greenland and then invade Canada. Canada's just like a nice hat. Just like a nice hat for America. But yeah, I think that's a lot of it. We just do not like the idea, whether it's silly or not, we don't like the idea of someone just getting authority over something that we see as being something we should have authority over for ourselves. Yeah, like Wayne said, whether or not it's a fault, we are fiercely independent and believe in extreme personal responsibility for the most part. And that's not to say that those are traits that are missing in any other nationality, but something that I have learned as I've grown up is that different nations do have different things that they self-identify with. And that's, I think, sort of the way that it was meant to be. I think it used to be a lot more like that, but different nations have different ideas of what makes a good citizen. And in some places that's supporting the Queen or stuff like that. And to answer the question of why we don't like martial law, why we worry so much about martial law, it's because one of the things that we as a nation sort of identify with, sort of take as a personal calling card, if you will, is, God bless her, don't tread on me, if you will, being, don't step on my toes, don't step on each other's toes, if I'm not messing with anybody, there's no reason to mess with me. That's sort of what it all comes down to. And while I agree that whenever we want to all live close to each other and we need rules to make that work and stuff, it often does err on the side of stepping on people's toes rather than, making due diligence to make sure that people have their liberties protected while taking care of the greater good. Seven Wonders doesn't type names longer than 4 or 5 characters. There's that can take a very long time. If you're gonna just type out everybody's name on here, it can take a while. All right, Wayne. What's the real question? You're right. It is time for it. 7 or even 7 is fine. That's a really good question, Wayne. She disappeared, didn't she? I hope she's all right. I mean, not joking. Like, I'm not going to wish ill upon anybody. Ginsberg, a poet. You would, wouldn't you, Hooples? Wayne, the Weekend at Bernie's theory. I'm really not a spectator of the political sport. You know who I haven't seen in a while is the younger Bush. What's he doing? in line at Walmart buying toilet paper. I'm pretty sure she has people who buy her toilet paper. If she still... But yeah, I really, I'll be honest, I do not follow politics beyond what you guys tell me and what the internet tells me. I have my own analysis of the things that I hear, but I don't go out of my way to watch politics or sports. I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of prepping YouTube. I watch people in here, a few other people, and I watch fictional stuff. Not fictional stuff, but fan theory. But I try to be selective lately about where I spend my time. And there's a lot of videos that are sort of repetition of other stuff. Like, no offense if any of you guys have done do-it-yourself hand sanitizer videos lately. But a lot of people have been doing do-it-yourself hand sanitizer videos lately. And sorry, but I didn't know that so many people on YouTube are do-it-yourself hand sanitizer makers already. Okay, Seven Wonders, I think I missed something. Oh, I get it. Yeah, Hooples, I saw yours. Yours was, you know, a commentary on those videos. So it gets a pass in my high and mighty judgment from my high horse. But a lot of, when people all make the same kind of videos, you can tell that they probably are all digesting it from similar sources. And when I consider making a video like that, if other people have been doing it lately, for instance, if it's searchable, part of what I ask myself is, do the people I'm going to show this to really need me to show this to them? Or is there somewhere else that's better? Like if I go search something and there's a better video, unless I really am like, I want to make this video, I want to do my own take on this thing, like a potato cannon. There's potato cannon videos out there. I don't need to make this video for people to be able to search for a potato cannon on YouTube. And the other ones are of a higher quality than the ones I'm making. But it's something I want to do for the people who want to watch it. But when it comes to something like my take on how to make a do-it-yourself hand sanitizer, I've got nothing unique to add to that right now. So until I would, then maybe. But yeah, see, Heaven's Essentials, that's actually an interesting perspective. I've thought, it would be interesting if someone were to share some of the other things you can put on your hands that would kill the germs on them. Or the video that I put out before all this, actually, during all this, Hooples right here asked me to do a lotion video because he knows that I wash my hands constantly and that I was in the restaurant industry where my hands were constantly in detergents and sanitizers. And I've worked outside a lot. So I'm no stranger to having my hands get beat up and cracked and stuff. So what I would rather see coming from everybody rather than do-it-yourself hand sanitizer videos, because we all are using hand sanitizer, is everybody's take on lotion, because that would actually garner unique responses rather than people, going to Yahoo document, sort of old articles and finding how to make hand sanitizer. Slaves. History would suggest that slaves are rather nice to have, but it's not nice to have them, if you know what I mean. Yep, thanks for hanging out, Diana. Good chatting with you, and hope to catch you next time. You have a good night. Salves. No, I know. I saw what you said. It was a funny mistype. It's good stuff. Yeah, no, salves for your skin. Things made from uh, oils or tinctures. People don't realize that even just an essential oil can be very good for you if you know what you're doing and you're not using something that's too strong and is going to burn your skin or be acidic or something. But things like uh, the proper concentration of a lemon oil mixture can bring a lot of vitamin C and things like that into your skin. Yeah, Seven Wonders. I do plan on hitting some watermelons or something fun. Um, Definitely part of the reason for making the potato cannon was to just have a source of fun videos. Those things are just a lot of fun. You can shoot potatoes at fun things. You can shoot fun things out of them. So, yep, it should be something we can play around with. Yeah, that is one thing, Hooples, that I think I have noticed with aloe is that it is a prime uh, petri material, if you will. It's got a sugar content, and it's just a really good bio uh, food. Hopefully, it's not staying on anybody's hands long enough, but that's really the catch 22 is you wash your hands, you moisturize them, and moisturizer is just a perfect fly trap for germs. How did we survive life before hand sanitizer? And that's the thing, Wayne. Hooples himself has actually uh, talked about how the best thing that you can do is simply have soap. Simply use soap, because once you've used soap, the things that were on your hand are not there anymore. And in fact, I don't trust hand sanitizer. I never have. Before this all started, I've been using hand sanitizer all year because at my current job, I handle a lot more money than I did at the restaurant. I actually was not on the register a lot when I was at the restaurant. So uh, now that I am constantly handling money and things that people have just handled, I was using hand sanitizer a lot. But as soon as I wasn't between customers, as soon as I had the chance to go wash my hands, I did that because hand sanitizer, while it may kill stuff that's on your hands, everything stays there, and anything that it didn't kill is still there, and all the dead bodies of all those microbes are still there. So to me, it's always mostly been a way to get the things off of the palms of my hands, and then to later on just be an extra step before I go and use the soap to whisk it all off. So, as Wayne and Hooples have said, a little bit of soap, a little bit of fat and ash ought to be all you really need at the end of the day, because it served our ancestors well, and the only reason it wouldn't serve us well is because we successfully separated ourselves from survival of the fittest and the, you know, culling that nature usually has upon us because of our sterilized environment. So individually, it might not do us well to try to survive by the rule of the wild, but it does apply to some things like soap. You're using a ton right now, Hooples. Is my live stream really that dirty? Yeah, prepping to endure. I've been there. So many lacerations on your hands that everything burns. Yeah, when isn't that something you should be learning at school? The alien talk got him excited. Nope, don't. Yep, nope. um, Seven Wonders. I'm not really sure about the hierarchy of sanitizing your hands, to be honest. The building is too small to teach spelling. I mean, I believe that soap is the best option. A good soap that will actually cut the oils, because what happens is the microbes get stuck in the oils on your skin, and then you whisk them away with the soap. Sanitizers may or may not kill everything on your hands. It's nice to think that they will. It's best to assume that they won't. The best thing to assume is that hand sanitizers are simply moving things around on your hands. And if that's the case, then it's best to do that. And then as soon as you can, use soap to just scorch earth everything off your hands. Nice. Seven Wonders. I like it. You know, when I was younger, I did lend an ear to the Indigo Child, Star Child stuff that maybe some people were hybrids or planted for the upraising of humans. It's good stuff. Wayne. Who needs DNA anyways, Wayne? They disrupted their DNA all the time on Star Trek and they turned out all right, right? Personally, I haven't actually found proof that I'm not an android yet. So I might actually be some form of really advanced Terminator. I haven't cut deep enough to find out yet. Deer work. What does deer work for? DEET. Yes, DEET does work. I think maybe Hooples was talking about DDT. I actually literally when he said DEET, I read DDT and I saw children running in clouds of pesticides. So that's a very strong correlation in my mind, apparently. Anyways, you guys chat amongst yourself for a second. I'm going to take care of a couple of things. But yeah, Hooples, I agree that DEET is probably not all that great either. I've never really liked putting it on. I do agree with Wayne that it definitely works. But, oh, Hooples is leaving. Good night, Hooples. Hope you have a good night. Wayne is right that DEET definitely works, but I definitely try to keep it off my skin so I don't absorb it. Try to put it on my gear and stuff so that it gives me the effect. But yeah, I'd rather put peppermint oil or something natural on, something that evolved to keep bugs off of it. All right, enjoy that paid sleep, Hooples. You lucky dog. I've had that a couple times. Yeah, tea tree or peppermint or things like that are very natural things that far from being bad for your skin or bad for your body once they absorb through your skin. They're probably good for you. Thomas Farm Okie, I am running this live stream through StreamYards.com, which makes the connection to YouTube for you. And so I've just chosen not to stream my video to it. That way it doesn't mess with my internet connection. So it's sort of a third-party service. But I was buffering too much. I just didn't have a good internet connection. So this sort of saves me there. Strongly for or against GMOs, Seven Wonders. I prefer non-GMO, but I also I'm a little more accepting of them if there's a lot of GMOs that have been around for a while, and there are some that I'm not very keen on. I'm not very keen on CRISPR or anything that's actually been genetically engineered and, spliced and stuff like that. But, technically monoculture crops are genetically modified foods. We've just modified them over generations and stuff. So, if we're talking about high-tech genetic modification with untested results and downstream effects, then no, I'm not really keen on being a guinea pig generation. Oh, that's cool, Heaven's Essentials. I'll look forward to seeing something about that. Mountain Mint. My understanding is that pretty much anything that's sort of vapor, anything minty or pepperminty or, something, and if it would burn your eyes or be sort of hot to a mucous membrane, then bugs are not going to want to touch it. Oh yeah, I agree. Seven Wonders that there are a lot of things, like I said, downstream effects of stuff that we just don't know yet. Organic or not organic, what I prefer? That really depends. I prefer locally grown, which is usually organic, but it really depends on what that means. It's a completely uncontrolled and arbitrary classification for food. So if by organic you mean one of my homestead friends grew it and they didn't use Roundup or anything besides just some chicken poop, then that is my absolute preferred source of food. When I go to Walmart and I see organic bananas next to normal bananas, do I think that they have some special thing about them that makes them better and worth, 25% more? Not all the time. So yeah, locally grown, pure natural food is absolutely better than store organic or store GMO or whatever. Basically, I don't try to classify things. I just go for the most. I don't always currently, and I need to, but on the hierarchy of food quality, I hold all natural, locally grown food that is whole and grown in well balanced soil to be the best. Catching up on chat here real quick. That's interesting. Have as essentials. Was most of the bread that you ate, let's see, would it have been flatbread or sourdough base? Because a lot of people who have gluten intolerance, it's how their gut fauna, their microbiome is reacting to it, and not necessarily anything directly in the bread. Because celiac is like a pretty powerful direct reaction, but you can have gut microbes that any bread over there. Here it was wheat bread. Interesting. But you know, it I'm sure a lot of you in here know this, but the bacteria and stuff that is in your gut has a powerful effect on the rest of your body, because what it is digesting determines the kind of byproducts that they make. And those can either be things that are good for your body, or they can be things that are toxins that your body needs to get rid of, and that messes with your body chemistry. And so even if you're eating good food, if you currently have a majority of yeast or something else, for instance, there was a guy, this was a documented story. He ate a lot of bread, and even though he didn't drink alcohol regularly, he had at one point in the past, and somehow he was fermenting the bread that he was eating. His wife actually suspected him of secretly being an alcoholic, so much that they took him to the doctor, and the doctor somehow determined that he was actually fermenting the bread in its gut, and actually getting drunk almost constantly off of ale that he was brewing in his intestines, basically. So that is a direct example of what can happen inside your stomach. So yeah, it's entirely possible that it's not necessarily wheat directly that is causing it, but just your body's reaction to what it knows. Yeah, Wayne, it's a funny story. It was not healthy, but it is a true thing. You know, what you put in your body is just it's not just an acid thing that dissolves all the food. It's actually a system of different little pockets of bacteria that do different things, ideally, but can be completely thrown off balance. Or maybe if they're in proper balance for you, it just is not meant to digest wheat. But you know, so it might not necessarily be an allergy to that thing, but and it might not even be necessarily something that your gut is doing, but just how your body anticipates it. So you never know, but everybody has things that they should probably stay away from, and it's just important to know what you need for proper nutrition, what fuels you properly, and keeps you healthy. We all have different genetic backgrounds, and it's important to remember that what's healthy for you and your ancestors is different than what was healthy for somebody else and their ancestors, because there are those minor differences in what we adapted to eating. That's why some genetic backgrounds cannot, you know, they're much more likely to be lactose intolerant than cultures that grew up or, you know, adapted to high lactose diets. Yeah, when things like intermittent fasting help to recalibrate your metabolism, and that's everything from how your body digests to how it uses the energy that's inside your bloodstream, and how your electrochemical signals get transmitted. So yeah, things like intermittent fasting and physical activity keep your metabolism up, which is I've said in past videos, and I've meant to do more videos in the past, completely separate from your health or your weight or anything like that. Having a healthy metabolism is one of the most important parts of health and therefore preparedness. Because you can be a big person and still have a good metabolism. Yeah, Seven Wonders, you're fine. You can absolutely share your opinion on GMO. I think that it's definitely an interesting topic. I think that on one hand, it definitely gets played up a little too much with a bit of misinformation, but at the same time, there's definitely a lot of things to look at. Hey, Dill Rogers. Yep, Dill Rogers has been around for a while with me. So, hello, how you doing? Right now, we are just chatting. I was doing a live stream earlier. My bandwidth just was not enough to do a video live stream. So I'm doing this through a third-party service, StreamYard, and doing just an audio-only chat just to give everybody a chance to keep hanging out. So I saw that you asked a question up there while I was rambling away. You were asking if anybody... Let's see. Missed you. If anybody's nervous about the coronavirus. I think a lot of people are nervous about the coronavirus. But yeah, I'm not... I mean, I have concerns about it, but I am not consumed with worry over it. I think that it's something that's going to happen. I'm sort of... I'm not worrying about avoiding catching it. I'm taking proper general precautions. But I think that hopefully people will just absorb this and just take this to heart every year. I think that these are general things that we should always worry about because, bugs are always going around. And if we really care about them as much as we do this one, we can actually keep a lot of people from getting sick or avoid getting sick ourselves just every year. Dang, Seven Wonders. That's how that happens. But it's a spreading thing. I have not talked about it very much because at any step of the way we're all just regurgitating speculation. But it is a thing that's happening. It's out there. My current level of speculation is that it's going to get there. It's either going to you're either going to get it or you're not, and it's going to do what it is or it isn't. It's sort of like the flu. A lot of us avoid it. A lot of us get it and don't know. And some people get it and it's not good for them. I think that this is another one stacked on top of that. It is likely a bit more serious, especially considering that it's coming along after the other. Yeah, Seven Wonders. Well, I am in Idaho, and I'm in the northern part of Idaho, which is butted right up against eastern Washington. And Spokane is only ever a hop, skip, and a jump from Seattle. So I know that it's in the community. I have family members that I'm concerned for, but I'm concerned for my family members at any given time. So I'm giving advice, and then that's all you can do. But yeah, just topping off on supplies, being rational about what supplies those are. I was sometimes in Ohio there, Heaven's Essentials. I was in a long distance relationship with someone in Ohio, so you might have met me while I was visiting there or something like that. but I am in Idaho, which is a good distance from where Ohio is. And yeah, Seven Wonders, staying home is about the best thing that you can do to avoid that particular threat. But going back to what Dill Rogers was saying, uh, being selective about what supplies you top off is one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because a lot of people are purchasing things. Like I told my family today, they said that they are going to go ahead and top off on things, not because they're worried about it, um, but because other people might inconvenience us by getting there first. And I told them to really think about what they're getting, uh, because you can get canned foods and stuff that you wouldn't normally eat necessarily, but you'd be better off because we have a lot of staple storage. We have a lot of the base things like rice and flour and stuff like that. But I said, just check on the things. We have a lot stored, but check on stuff like baking powder, not baking soda, because I know I got a lot of that. But just any of those small things that you need to make other things. Check for holes in our pantry, so that we don't go to make some random baked good one day just because we thought about it and we just don't happen to have one of the certain ingredients that's unique to that thing. Those are always the preps that you miss, even if you do have all the rest, is that one ingredient that you never thought of, like extra vanilla extract or whatever. Um, so yeah, Ohio is a pretty popular state around here on the community for some reason. Your bank is shutting down branches in affected areas. Now that is going to be the next interesting one. Yeah, heavens. Well, hopefully it'll hit them eventually, unless they're not tapped into Facebook or anything really that or media that's going to put it in their face. Because a lot of people uh, are getting it from Instagram or the regular media or Facebook or wherever they get their stuff from. Um, but a lot of eventually a lot of people are getting it put in their face, if you will. Oh yeah, Wayne. Well, there's all kinds of economic upheaval going on in the background of this that's not getting talked about. Um, and I think that that's wanted. I'm not somebody who sits here and speculates on other people's intentions and makes conspiracy theories of my own, but if I was a market manipulator and if the market was going downward pretty hard, like we all talk about how it's going to, we all pretty much agree in this community that we're due for another recession, depression, whatever. But if you were somebody who could potentially catch blame for that kind of thing, it might help to have it happen while there was something like a virus to not only distract from it, but also blame it on. And I think we're seeing a bit of that. I'm not saying that local banks closing their chapters is part of that. I think that that's just something that they can do. Banks always benefit from being closed because they can still take your money, but they're less likely to give it. And that always works for banks. So a lot of the things that we see are things that could potentially be money savers for the people enacting them, or just good moves on their part. But it is interesting. And I definitely think that videos about banks being closed will probably be popping up here pretty soon. Yeah, Wayne, you never know. And they may still. I've heard that bailout word being spoken. So we will see what happens. But It is interesting that the epidemic threads, are more prominent than anything else on, the subscription feed, if you will. Yeah, Wayne, I've been planning on going to school, and lately I sort of wonder if it's already too late to start that kind of thing. Well, thanks for dropping in, Thomas. Hope you have a good night. I probably will want to hit the sack before too horribly long, but keep going for right now. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, Wayne. Pretty good call. What grade are you in? Well, they made him go back and pick up where he left off in 8th grade. No, Wayne, that's not too late at all. I mean, it's never too late, so they say. I'm 31, and I'll be starting soon. No, heavens, the stocks are not good. But if you're someone who's never been in the stocks, that's a good place to start. Finally finishing senior year. Yeah, I sort of want to get a little bit of schooling while I still can, and maybe have a little bit of money to put somewhere when everything's on the ground floor. That's why I like having a little bit of silver. It's like when everything crashes, you got that. Even if your dollars become worth nothing and you can't even work for something to trade for food, even if you can't trade your silver, at least it's there. Holy crap, Heaven's Essentials. That is not good at all. Well, I am absolutely not a financial advisor, but I hear that you never want to lose money. Yeah, Seven Wonders, I'm glad that you've been here meeting everybody. It's always good to have good friends. I think I've seen you around, haven't I? I mean, Heavens is, from my perspective, as long as you had faith in those companies for reasons, whoever you've invested with, and unless they have individually done something that has ruined them as a company, then I don't know of any reason, barring individual circumstances, why they wouldn't, return to whatever approximation of value they have in the long run. You know what I mean? If you can play the long game, you know what I mean? It'll go up unless the things that you've invested in go bust because of this. For instance, let's say you're invested in Ford and they go down because the whole market's down. Well, when Ford goes up, you'll be back. That's my very, very basic understanding of it. I think my understanding is a lot of people tap out because they don't want to lose even more, or because they cannot afford to leave that capital in there for long enough to wait for it to go back up in the long run. But yeah, like Seven Wonders said, man, I wish I had $20,000 to lose, or $120,000 to lose. I'm still young and haven't made my fortune yet, but yeah, I don't have it to imagine losing it. Yeah, Seven Wonders. I was going to feel crazy if you said that we hadn't met before tonight, because I've been working under the delusion that we know each other, and yeah, I've chatted a few times. So, but I am a little crazy, so that's not outside the realm of possibility. Yeah, heavens. Well, that's a good way to go. Invest in things that you don't need to worry about being a short-term thing, things that are pinned to the market, things that in the long term you can have faith will return to whatever approximation of their value there is. Who's making the virus or the vaccine? I just assumed it was Hydra this whole time. Maybe they did J-Snip, but laws can be rewritten. I think it would only take a matter of a few hours for them to make a law that veto the law making bailouts impossible until derivatives are paid for first, as soon as it was something that they really wanted to do. I'm reminded of that classic line from Star Wars, "I am the Senate." And I hear that every time the Senate is mentioned. Whoever makes the vaccine is going to make a lot of money. Yeah, that would be interesting to see if someone made something, some patented cure or vaccine or something. That's an I'm sorry for laughing, Heaven's Essentials, but I'm always hesitant when somebody brings up Israel and sort of has something to say about them, and you'll probably understand why. So when you said, "I bet Israel will find a cure," I wasn't going to address it until I knew if it was because you thought that there was a conspiratorial reason that Israel will be the one to find the cure. But you're saying that they lead the way in a lot of things like that because places like America have a lot of greedy red tape, which is true. A lot of medicines die in the FDA process because they don't have the money to push it through. Because FDA testing can be expensive and lengthy, and a lot of small companies don't have the money to afford that or to stay open without making a profit for years on end. So that's a good take on it. But I was sort of, yeah, you understand. J-Snip. That would be very interesting. Well, that's good, Seven Wonders. Shoot. I really forget who made this video. That's a bummer. But someone recently made a video about appreciating what you have. Shoot, it might have been one of you. But stepping back and really looking at, if you have this much, if you've got a week's worth of what you need to keep doing what you do, to stay home and just get by comfortably for 1 week, you are probably ahead of 97%. of Americans. If you can just stay home and live without really hurting for a week. Not necessarily being comfortable and having all your creature comforts, but being taken care of for a week. You are 97% ahead. And so on and so forth. And maybe, most of us who are prepping are not, we're going to find a hole in our preps pretty darn fast. And we just hope that the hole is not so big that it hurts. Maybe it'll be something like a minor medication, like a skin medication or something like that. Maybe it'll be a major part of your diet that you feel very sick without. Maybe it'll be something serious. But the whole point of prepping is to find the holes and fill them, the bigger ones first. So 6 months of food is one of the biggest holes that you can fill. So 7 Wonders, I would definitely, none of us are as prepped as we should be or as we want to be, but now the water, that's definitely something to take care of. And I'm not talking just to you, 7 Wonders, but to everybody in the world. And I always use myself as an example because I'm in a place that has plentiful water. I could probably dig a hole in my yard and get quite a bit of water through seepage and creating a still kind of thing. I can go less than a couple miles and get infinite water. There's so much water here that the population couldn't tap it if they tried. But I still have hundreds of gallons of water stored because I believe that having water right there that you can grab is one of the best things that you can do to save yourself time and energy when grid is down. So anytime someone thinks they might need more water, I agree with them. I need more water. You can just never have enough water until you have like 10,000 gallons for each person that might be there. So a small lake for yourself, you don't have enough water. That depends on your approach, 7 Wonders. I'll be honest, I probably would not do the whole house generator until I had enough money to do both. Yeah, you don't want to lose for lack of shooting back. I think you definitely need to be able to shoot back, but there needs to be a good balance between how serious you take that and how serious you take the rest. I definitely, like I said, you need to be able to shoot back, but you don't need to go John Wick on everybody, but you do need to eat. So just balancing the two is important. Anyways, back to the generators. I would love a whole house generator, but like I said, until you're able to take care of the versatile needs, which, like a portable generator is less convenient whenever you're bugging in, but it can take care of a lot of your basic needs, and it can be mobile because, well, we always want to try to bug in. Yeah, 7 Wonders, but whenever I just always ask people to imagine a situation where they have to bug out or die. Let's say that a meteor is absolutely going to fall on your house. I mean, just absolutely. You've got 10 hours warning, but there's no avoiding it. A meteor is going to fall on your house. And you're going to have to go live in a parking lot somewhere for at least 2 weeks. Just that kind of thing. The most arguably mundane thing that could happen on this earth is a rock falling on it. And the least, a pretty reasonable outcome for that would be you living in a parking lot. You've got a bunch of cats, so you would have to figure out a way to bundle them together and get them to that parking lot and provide commodities for yourself. So in that situation, a portable generator would be the one that you would want. And so I just always hold what my perspective on things. That was sort of my objective in the stream originally, was to hold up what we expect to happen versus the most objective perspective on it. It would be great to have a whole home generator, and arguably that will probably serve you more directly right now in the long term if you were to need it. But if you're worried about emergency situations, you can use your portable generators both at home and abroad, but you probably can only use your home generator at home. Into the covered trailer. Yeah, but just whenever it comes to things like generators and stuff like that, I always try to cover both the most mundane and realistic, probable things, as well as the most wide variety of things in balance, So, yeah, I mean, it is pretty likely that you will just have a power outage. And in that case, it would be great to have a whole home generator so that you can just run your home. But you could also bite the bullet on it and accept that when a power outage happens, you'll have to do something drastic like move your freezer over next to the generator or outside where you can run the generator to power one or two essential things, and live without interior lighting until the power comes back on, things like that, because you chose to get a portable generator. Because yeah, it's more likely that you'll have a power outage in which you had a home generator than that you will ever need to go somewhere with your generator. So it really is a balancing act, and that part, what you need to do for your everyday life now, that's a personal consideration that you need to weigh into it, that you can't, I can't really tell you for a prepping consideration, but when I think about if it is just a prepping investment and it's unlikely that I'll use it to power my home until said emergency or whatever, I would like the idea of a portable generator. I do have a portable generator. I rent, so getting that kind of home modification is not going to happen for me right now. But I like having the generator because, I mean, that's not when I go camping, I go hiking into the woods and just camp with what I have. But if I ever did sort of want to have a little bit of a party with friends and go camping, I have a generator, and that's pretty nice to know. I could go out and set something up if I wanted. I can go and perform work. That's actually how I got my generator, was doing contracting work. And my cousin asked if I was working for my cousin. He asked if I'd like to have a generator for just a few hours worth of work. I got a huge steal of a deal on it because, I only did 2 or 3 hours worth of labor for the dang thing. But it's really nice to have a portable generator. But if I had a house, I'd really want a home generator. So anyways, you've heard my perspective. I always just weigh my preps with an eye towards their practicality right now in my everyday life, and or just not kicking myself one day by realizing I spent a lot of money on something that's just useless in the situation I found myself in. All right. Have fun taking the dog out, Jason. Solar lights. Yeah, solar lights are a good option. I'm going to track back through real quick. When the storms hit last winter and put us without power in the freezing weather, I walked all around town at night, scouted the area, and I could hear people's generators over 3 miles away. That's a really good point. Generators are incredibly loud, and that kind of piston sound travels a long distance. And under a lot of circumstances, that's okay. But, well, criminals are always looking for opportunity. So while they might not do anything right away, you can bet that even just during a power outage, if there's any hooligans or never-do-wells out walking around, they're subconsciously or consciously noting the direction of places that have power. And it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for even just homeless people to walk up to your house and try to plug into your outside outlets during a power outage, let alone neighbors or just random people walking by who happen to notice that you have power. So far from you just getting your door kicked in, like a lot of people worry about, you might just end up being the popular place for people to come plug into your house. Yeah, and when the power goes out, it does get quiet at night. Anyways, 7 wonders. More extreme question. 100-gallon minimum gas tank. Wifey doesn't really like that idea, but you feel like you can't lose, especially with the low price of gas. Yeah, Snip, sometimes that happens with StreamYards, actually. Let me pull the stream up somewhere else real quick. A lot of tweakers around Heaven's area. So 7 wonders with the gas tank. You're just asking my take on that topic. I think that having a gas tank is always a good idea. I've always had the dream of having at least 100 gallons or like a 500 gallon, like a lot of farms or ranches have, is just a big gasoline tank or diesel tank that they use to run all of their equipment and vehicles on and stuff like that. And a company just comes and fills it every other week or something. That would be great because you get a huge discount buying bulk gas and buying it at the right time. You're definitely going to use it and rotate through it. So it's a good idea to do because it's all, like I said, it's almost always going to go up in price. Sometimes it goes down whenever weird things happen, as we know. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing to have. So I can't really give advice for getting your wife to be on board with it, if that's what you're asking me. Never had a wife. Pretty good with, used to be pretty good with serious relationships, but I'm a little bit of a hermit. Been a little bit of a hermit, aside from a couple hiccups. Never. So 7 wonders is never more than 10 millimeters and or 10 feet from a gun. Good to know. Same here. Yeah, grow it with 500-gallon gas tank. I mean, most families will go through even 500 gallons before it can go bad. Hey, CR, how you doing? Another night owl that's often open up in the early hours in the morning. Live on an acre, but in a neighborhood. Yeah, Heaven's Essentials. I don't live on quite an acre. I live in a normal suburban little plot, but I'm living here because this is where my family is, and there's more job and school opportunities than where my place of choice is, where my mini home is. I like living far out. I would actually love to be rich enough to go live out on a mountain in a snowy mountain range 100 miles from anybody and just like have a helicopter. I would take all the inconveniences that lifestyle takes if I had the money and resources to have a secluded mountain home. But wish in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one fills up first. I feel like I lost the thread of a conversation here. Let me scroll up. But yeah, gas tanks, generators. Yeah, generators can just walk away on a good night. Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think we're good. Let me know if I missed anything. Creative, the second one. Some of us can't sleep. Some of us sleep at weird times. it's my weekend, so I'll often drink coffee at 10 o'clock at night and stay up all night. So, Seven Wonders, you're fine. I think I can manage to get around to any questions people have. It just, you sort of adjust how long you talk about each one, or just go on longer and longer. But no, everybody's welcome to ask me any questions they might have. I'm not an authority on anything, but if you've got something to chat about, I'm always welcome to share my perspective and hear what the side chat has to say about anything. But yeah, no, you're good. Sort of the whole point of doing the live streams is I usually have a little bit of a topic that I like to address right away for anybody who watches afterwards, but then we just sort of freestyle here. It's a way for me to share my perspective on anything, and more importantly, for the audience to be able to share information that they have a special perspective on. Because some of the best stuff that you learn on YouTube is from the comments. Most of the best stuff, actually. I've actually found that one of the best ways to learn things is just to make a video about something that you don't understand properly. It's actually, I forget whose law it is, but there's a law named after some person that states the best way to get the answer to a question on the internet is not to ask that question, but to actually profess the wrong answer to that question. For instance, if I say somebody besides Usain Bolt is the fastest man alive, everybody's going to come and tell me who the fastest man alive is. But if I were to simply ask it, I would not get nearly as powerful a response. So I've actually done videos just knowing that I'll get 1,000 people telling me how I could do it better because they know how to do it better. And anybody who comes and watches that video is going to get that same learning experience. And so that's sort of how I see the chats and things like that. There's also a rule of the internet that states that anytime the longer that a debate continues, the likelihood that a reference to somebody being correlated to Hitler increases towards 100%. And once somebody uses a reference to Hitler, the value of the conversation decreases exponentially from that point on. And unfortunately, Congress does this pretty often. That can happen sometimes, Wayne. There are a lot of warning signs that a conversation has been derailed. Oh yeah, Seven Wonders. Sometimes they're true. Or sometimes they're right, that they do know how to do it better. But for everyone who actually does know how to do it better, there are 10 or 20 that only think they know how to do it better. $20.15. Yeah, that's actually something that I brought up, Heaven's Essentials. A lot of people didn't agree with me. Someone was talking about how toilet paper stores forever. And I was like, no, I'm actually pretty sure that toilet paper probably has been treated with enough stuff. You know, because when they process that paper to make it soft and fibrous, but it doesn't roll off onto your butt and pill, you know, toilet paper is a very precise product. And to get it that precise, there were chemicals involved, unless you're using all natural, non-GMO, chemical-free toilet paper, which most of us aren't. Most of us are using bleached, treated toilet paper. And I'm pretty sure that after 5 or 10 years, whatever is keeping that toilet paper supple and young is going to fall apart, and you're going to go wipe it on your butt. And even if it doesn't fall to dust in your hand, you might have some Klingons, Captain. That's just all that I have to say. So yes, Heaven's Essentials. You bring up a good point, and I think that we might be among the few who have gone there. Yeah, wet wipes are good. Or get a little squirt bottle. You could even get like a squirt bottle with a little sand in it for like a pressure washing kind of sandblasting effect. Sounds like a metaphor for a bad marriage. Yeah, you could probably take it there. It sounds like a little bit of a stand-up comedy routine for a maybe not a dive bar, but a dingy bar a little bit. But yeah, you could turn that into a routine. A feather duster. Seven Wonders doesn't buy non-GMO TP. All right, Seven Wonders, that's what I want. That is going to be the prepper challenge. The survivalism challenge video of the month. Everybody is going to have to spend at least 1 week wiping themselves with leaves. I will probably be growing mullein. I think mullein is probably the best that I know of for wiping. 3 shells. What are the 3 shells for, Wayne? Tell me what the 3 shells are for. Yeah, no. Non-GMO TP. If you want like pure, raw, organic TP, you might end up with splinters, because that is a thing that used to happen. You used to get splinters from your toilet paper, my friends. Cherish the modern world that we live in. I have seen Demolition Man, but it's been a while. I'm not getting the reference. I know that they're different flushing. They're foreign toilet flush dials, but yeah. Lamb's ear. I have heard about lamb's ear. I don't have a mental picture of it. I know mullein very well, and I know that mullein makes good tea for your sinuses, and it makes a good toilet paper, but you don't use them one after the other. You use them separately. Oh, the 3 shells in Demolition Man. Okay, that's right. I know that was originally a reference, but there are also toilets that have 3 seashells. Okay, we'll have to look into lamb's ear. I think it would actually be very interesting to see preppers trying to wipe themselves with leaves. I don't want to see it, but yeah, I don't really know how that would work. Never mind. But I like thinking of challenges that most people will not be able to take up. I don't really like the idea of wiping myself with leaves. Most leaves have like little fur that you need to take off of them and stuff. I know mullein does. Yeah, that would be one of the worst things to have to worry about. A good blood clotter. Please don't mention those things in the same sentence, Wayne. Poison oak. I'm pretty sure that after a while you wouldn't feel anything back there, Heaven's Essentials. I would certainly hope so. Just leave it alone. Wow, CR. You saw an opportunity and you did not fail to take it. I'm proud of you. Oh yeah, Seven Wonders. That's a good do-it-yourself hand sanitizer or hand wipe kind of thing. Oh gosh. Will it now, heavens? Will it actually? No, that can't be a thing. But yeah, Seven Wonders. Just putting some alcohol onto paper towel or a rag is much more sustainable than buying alcohol swabs. Although I really do like alcohol swabs. Okay, thank God, Heaven's Essentials. You know, that's how misinformations get spread. Because for a second, for just a second, I was like, is that like nature's answer to, just postponing it for 1 month? Is no, that can't possibly be a thing. Yep, that's how it happens. You could probably share that on Facebook and it would go crazy. Sort of like, have you ever seen those ones that say, winter is coming, make sure to take coolant out of your vehicle because that will make it too cold. You need to add water. Well, that's the thing, Heavens. I was wondering if maybe the inflammation would actually make your body not perform menstruation. But I mean, that, yeah, no. I know that some things can make it just sort of, I don't know if it goes through a proper cycle again or if it just fails to slough. But never believe Heaven's Essentials. Now, creative. Heaven's Essentials is not fake news. Yeah, Heavens. Just show a picture of poison oak and call it lamb's ear. That would actually be mean, though, because somebody might use that. Sevens. No, you're not. No, not the. I mean, I'm sure that the ears off of real lambs, it's pretty much cotton. So, well, wool. But I don't know that people really want to wipe with wool, let alone wool that's that fresh. But no, it's a leaf that's presumably named after its resemblance to lamb's ears. But thank you for going there. I appreciate it. It's the kind of thinking that I look for in a person. I appreciate absurdist humor. Yes, lanolin. That's right. I should know better. I wouldn't claim to be a wool snob, but I appreciate pure wool. And it is surprisingly difficult to get pure wool outside of specialty stores. Like even at a outdoor or recreation stores or hardware stores, almost every wool sock that you find is going to be a blend with some kind of weaker material, like cotton or polyester or things like that. It is hard to find 100% wool socks for under $25 a pair. Um, oh yeah, lanolin is the sebum, their skin oil. Um, but yeah, it is hard to find good wool. It's always important to check the label and see what the mix is because there's often up to 60% polyester and they'll still call it a wool sock. 40% is really common. Even 10% polyester, I feel, can sometimes ruin a sock. If you're really wanting it for wet outdoor cold conditions, you want 100% cotton or wool. Oh, that's cool, J Snip. I love Mullen. I have I've used mullein quite a bit. I mean, I can personally attest to mullein. I have made a lot of mullein tea to help clear my sinuses, and it has always helped. Maybe that's a placebo effect, but I've always, when I drink mullein tea, my sinuses drain. And it helps with, I feel it helps with inflammation from cold and stuff like that. So that is very cool. If I had land, I would definitely want some mullein on a good chunk of it. 100% wool hat. That is very cool, creative. That's cool, Seven. I have worked in a plant nursery before. A very big one. Is actually one of the largest ones in the Northwest, or the largest one for the trees that it did, or for saplings altogether, or something. But we made a lot of aspen trees and other things. You think the mullein might be better than TP? Yeah, mullein I think is might be a vasodilator for your lungs. I'm not, don't quote me on that, but I do think it actually has a you know, lung vasodilator effect. Yeah, it looks like it's an anti-tubercular agent. Interesting, and it might be a wormicide. Mullein is used for cough, whooping cough, tuberculosis, bronchitis, hoarseness, pneumonia, earaches, colds, chills, flu, swine flu, fever, allergies, tonsillitis, and sore throat. Other uses include asthma, diarrhea, colic, gastrointestinal bleeding, migraines, joint pain, and gout. So pretty much mullein is the secret altogether super plant. Go get some mullein because it's going to save you from coronavirus. It actually saves you. It helps with swine flu. So it might actually be one of the things that can help you with coronavirus that I haven't actually heard anyone talk about this week. So, thank you, Heaven's Essentials, and everybody who was talking about mullein. Jay Snip, pretty much everybody here was talking about how good mullein is. So high five, everybody. Let's just pat each other on the back for a minute. Now, go buy it before you tell everybody else about it, because it's just going to spread like wildfire. Lamsey. Not if you're careful, Jay Snip. But yeah, you definitely don't want to miss with that kind of thing, right? That's good, Seven Wonders. I've always gotten powdered mullein. Actually, I often would just pick it off the side of the road because it grows in fields around here. But if I really was like gonna brew tea and stuff like that, aside from just have it, I would actually have gone in the past to my health food store, and they just have big jars of it powdered or sort of minced and dried for so low a price. There was no reason not to just get it from them. All right, Wayne, thanks for listening. You have a good night. I'll probably be wrapping this up pretty soon. We've been chatting for quite a while. Probably chat here for just a few more minutes and wrap it up. But thank you for listening. You have a good night, Wayne, and we'll catch you on the flip side. I do follow the Herbal Jedi. I actually don't catch all the videos from nearly everybody that's on my stream, but I do like to follow them. Sometimes I play them when I can, or even if I'm not watching, but um, I do like to at least keep track of a lot of people. So yeah, I know of the Herbal Jedi. Oh yeah, and great video, Wayne. I know I only commented on the beginning of it, but I watched it through and it was a good video. Good thoughts. Seven Wonders has a code for 5% off of iHerb. I don't know how I can let you post that here. I'm on StreamYard, so I'm not. Let's see. But you have a channel, don't you? Seven Wonders. Let me link your channel, and if people want to go get a link for discount off iHerb, they can go there. I just go pretty randomly there. Seven Wonders lately. When I hit 1,000, I'll probably go scheduled. One of the reasons I don't do it regularly right now is because scheduled live streams are much easier for people to do mischievous things with. And so I don't necessarily want to constantly do scheduled live streams from my home. One of the main reasons that I look forward to hitting 1,000 is because then I'll be able to do mobile live streams again, be able to do that from prettier, more scenic places than my bedroom, and with better internet quality probably than my internet service provider is giving me. So that is probably around the time when I'll start doing regular scheduled live streams, a little bit more channel or collaboration chats with other people. But for now, lately at least, I've been doing it whenever I feel like it. Like tonight, I knew I was probably going to be staying up a little bit, felt like chatting with people. But in the future, I do plan on doing a little bit more regular stuff, having things that a lot of people can attend at more regular times. So, yeah, hopefully in the future. Seven Wonders, do you have a link in the description for your channels or anything like that for the iHerb that you were talking about? But yeah, CR, we're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. It's the same time for me locally, I think, as it is for you. It's about 1 o'clock here, a little bit after that. So later for pretty much everybody else. So I think I'm going to wrap it up, probably head to bed, and so we can get up and do stuff like this tomorrow. But yeah, Seven Wonders, if you have a link to that in some of your videos, then I'll go ahead and post a link to your channel and people can go find it. Yeah, otherwise, I'm not really sure. But yeah, everybody, Seven Wonders is sharing that. So. Anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap it up for the evening? Morning, whatever it is to you. Oh, okay. You just got the code. Gotcha. Well, if you want to share it, then yeah. I mean, I'll definitely check them out. I haven't actually heard of them before, so. Cool find indeed. Very good CR. Okay, there you go, guys. Very kind of you there, Seven Wonders. I'll actually be checking them out because I do get a few things they might have. And it's always nice to find a source for that kind of stuff. I'm a strong advocate for having microgreens, like powdered greens and things like that. Or super greens, not microgreens. But, well, cool. Thank you, Seven Wonders. I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. But yeah, it's very important to have uh, vegetable and fruit nutrients and stuff. And I believe that freeze dried powders from fruit and veggie concentrates can be one of the best things that you can do for yourself. One of the best things you can store. One of the easiest ways to get a lot of good nutrients. Yeah, thank you, Jay Snip, for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, we'll probably be wrapping it up. It's been a couple hours from the news stream. I appreciate you guys all being here. I hope I see you around here in the near future. Anybody have any last thoughts, last questions? Wash your hands. Appreciate that. Yep, good advice, Heaven's Essentials. Always a good idea to wash your hands. Keep them moisturized so that they don't crack. But yeah, thank you, Seven Wonders. There's definitely a couple things that I'm going to check them out for. I think everybody should go there to iherb.com, use Seven Wonders NUF 370 code there. Maybe just save that to your clipboard or write it down somewhere, because that is a really kind thing to share. That's the kind of productive, helpful stuff that I like to see on here rather than just sort of, random information being regurgitated. So I appreciate that. I think if anybody could possibly find value from that, then go ahead and follow up on that. Everyone's going to be shoving tampons up their nose soon. I wonder if that would work. I would love to see people doing that. Don't necessarily think it's a good idea, but hey, there you have it. Yep, I really enjoyed this chat too, Seven Wonders. I actually don't always go on for around 3 hours, considering both streams connected. But, when there's good chat, you just sort of keep on going on. So I appreciate you guys all being here, making the chat so engaging. And I definitely hope to see this group around again in the future. So definitely stay tuned. I do plan on doing these random hit and run streams, but I also do plan on doing some more regularly scheduled premieres and live stream chats. So nose filters. I guess that makes sense. But that's a losing game right there, I feel. But thank you for that, Heaven's Essentials. That is a nice note to go to bed on, is nose filters. Thank you, Seven Wonders. Yeah, if you guys want to thumbs up the chat, I'm sure the YouTube gods will appreciate that. Anyways, thank you guys all for being here. I really do appreciate the chat. It was a very good conversation. I think we solved a lot of the world's problems right there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. And I hope you all have a good evening tonight. Rest well, be safe, be objective about what you do, act with deliberation and forethought, and we'll seize the future, I guess. Everybody stay safe out there. Thanks for being here.